Hi, and welcome to the 5th video in this series of building a box that will fit nicely next to my Resolve mini panel and house 2 Stream Decks and 1 trackball. In the first video of this series, we scanned the mini panel with a 3D scanner, and we got that into Fusion 360. And in the second video, we started building a box based on that scan to house the 2 Stream Decks. And in the third video, we threw all that in the garbage and started over again because I get pretty picky. And in the fourth video, we managed to get that box and incorporate a trackball into it with a custom shape for the trackball. We then sent those to the 3D printer and we ended up with 3 individual items. So here we are, video 5. We are ready to finalize everything. I have glued the 3 individual pieces together into one big box. And it's behind me, it's hidden right now. We have to do a reveal, right? We have to do a reveal. Before we can do the reveal, I have to show you what I did to get to this stage, because there's a few flaws in the box that I wanted to just try to smooth out. So let's go just a few hours ago to where I started to do the finishing touches on this box. Okay, just a quick update on what we have here. We have taken the 3 individual pieces, we have glued them together. We expanded our USB holes, so the cable does get through all 3 holes now from the trackball. It had a really fat USB tip on it. I have some seams that I have filled with just plain wood filler that you can buy at any hardware store. I've never tried this, but I've heard that it works quite well on plastic. The seams are partially because of the glue job and the way that the items were split up in the slicer, but also just in the way the items were printed. This was printed this way, this piece was actually printed this way, and there's just a slight curve in the base of one of these pieces, so they don't quite match up perfectly. The seam on these 2 that were both printed in the same orientation is really, really small, but while we're here, we might as well try to fill it as well. There's also a few layer lines that I want to try to smooth out. So we're going to sand this, we're going to put some more wood filler on it, we're going to sand it, and we're just going to keep doing that back and forth until this is ready to prime and paint. So what we're looking at right now is after 1 pass of sanding and then another pass of wood filler and a second pass of sanding. So 2 rounds of wood filler, 2 rounds of sanding. All told, I probably spent about 30 minutes worth of wood filler and sanding on this, not counting the time for the actual wood filler to dry. And I think we're ready to move on to the next step. Okay, so we're all sanded up. We're all ready for the paint process. So we started out by, I went and I grabbed a can of, it was a combination of spray paint and primer in one. It's a metallic silver, and I went over the box with a couple of passes. So 2 passes of silver spray paint. It's quite shiny. The seams are still visible, but I think with this, you know, once it's in the position with the lighting in the room and the Stream Decks on top, I'm not too worried about the seams anymore. And after the silver paint, we then tape it up, try to get as nice clean edges as possible, and I put some black on top. This is just acrylic black from the craft store. It's a little hard to tape this up because of the layer line, so you don't get a perfectly smooth finish to stop a little bit of bleeding, but I think for the most part it has come out pretty good. Now the paint, the black paint on the silver really moves around a lot, so it took several layers to get it to actually thicken up to the point where it looked black. The first layer looked like I almost hadn't put any paint on it at all, but I stuck with it, 3 or 4 layers of black paint, and eventually I think we got to the point where it looked really good. And then we bring it into the suite. We add the Stream Decks to it, the trackball to it, and we are ending up with a really nice looking object. I will basically be using this Stream Deck to just work with the Resolve mini panel. Here's a view of the front angle that I had redesigned. Fits in there just perfectly. It just fits like a glove. I did an angle at the back to go up along the side of the stream or the resolve panel at the back, and once again, that fits really, really nicely. I think overall, it looks really, really sharp. So there you have it. It's all done. I think it's great. What do you guys think? I think it's great. I think the angles are great. The paint job, yeah, I'm not a professional painter, but I think it looks really good. I honestly don't think the camera does justice for how well it all matches in here. If I had to print it again, yeah, I might drop the trackball down 2 millimeters, but that's getting pretty picky. For the most part, I could not be happier with how this turned out. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you have any ideas for anything else, let me know. Maybe I can take that on. I do have 2 other StreamDecks and the XL on the other side that I use more with Avid. Maybe something could be done with those to incorporate them into the other side of this desk a little better. Either way, I'm happy this is done. It's been a long 3 or 4 weeks of working on this, but it's time to move on to something else. If you guys have any ideas of what that should be, let me know. Thanks for watching.